Lang Lang exemplifies a 21st century China, a pioneering pianist that took center stage at the opening ceremony of the 2008 Olympics to become an instant cultural icon who will forever be associated with the host city Beijing. To get through difficult times, lots of people seek solace in places around them. And on my visit to Beijing, Lang Lang wanted to take me to a place close to his heart, the Temple of Heaven.
As a kid, I came, I think, every month. Yeah, because I try to get some inspiration here. And Temple of Heaven is somewhere that you can pray to the spiritual, very spiritual place. And this is where the old emperor prayed to the god, to the heaven. That's why it's called a Temple of Heaven.
Originally constructed during the Ming Dynasty in 1420, the Temple of Heaven is a series of altars set in lush parklands. In ancient times, emperors would visit, and in elaborate ceremonies, they would personally pray to heaven, asking for prosperity throughout their empires, pay their respects to their ancestors, and in the winter solstice ceremony, pray for a bountiful harvest.
I think it's a very kind of positive energy place that you feel very comfortable. You feel that you can talk to some kind of beyond, living areas. So.
Are you spiritual yourself?
Yeah, I am. Yeah. As a musician, I think you need to be spiritual.
Obviously, it's very traditional here, the Temple of Heaven, and it reminds you of the old Beijing.
Yes.
And yet you represent a lot of the new. How do you balance the two?
I prefer the old tradition of Beijing compared to the new tradition. I mean, new tradition also great, but as a Chinese, I think we should be really treasuring our old culture. And I played a concert. It was 8 years ago.
Here?
Yeah,
must
here.
have been amazing.
After hour, I see the morning crowd are coming, and they all enjoyed it.
That must have been a very magical moment for you.
Yeah, it was. It was kind of an early summer, and to play so quiet, there's nobody. It's just start playing, and it was just like, wow, this is such a spiritual time. And every time when I play the slow movement of Beethoven Fifth Piano Concerto, din, don, din, don, din.
Lang Lang took me to an area in the Temple of Heaven which had and continues to have a massive influence on his career, a series of buildings called the Divine Music Administration. In ancient times, they housed as many as 2,000 musicians that played at the emperor's ceremonies. Today, it's the perfect venue for our own personal concert.
It's very much the old and the new, isn't it, Lang Lang? I mean, the Beijing, the modern aspects of it. And then when you sit here in the music hall of the Temple of Heaven, you feel like you could be in a very different city.
Yeah, you felt like hundreds of years back during the Ming Dynasty or Qing Dynasty. You're into that time. And to see the style as this very colorful, flowery, even a little bit dragon, and this dark blue, and those are such a beautiful art forms, and that is all connected, to the music.
So when you come here, what kind of emotions does it bring out?
I would say, looking over those instruments, I feel, even though piano is a Western instrument, but there are many connections, which, whether culture concerns or the traditional, human concerns, but we're very similar in a way. Music is expressing, happiness, bitterness, colorfulness, the taste. It's important to know the history Same in classical music. Sometimes what we don't realize is actually it connects to us, even though it's old history. And sometimes I found in the world of today that we are so into this, everything fast, everything, connected. Sometimes we forget actually, where did we come from before? And those natural reactions sometimes inspire us the most. And you have this real touch of the history. And then you felt that as human developing, we should never forget our roots.
Lang Lang, we're in the busy streets of Beijing
Yes.
here. What are some of your favorite places that you like to go when you're here?
Beijing has a lot of beautiful, Great Wall, Summer Palace, and a lot of old stuff. The Forbidden City, and then there are many great museums here, to show the old Chinese culture and art, and also I really like Beijing's Hutong, the little street,
The alleys.
Yeah. And here, you're in those little street, and then you see those art craftsmanship. I like those little things. In Chinese we say 小玩意儿, that means little things, and this is what Beijing is really interesting for.
It's often been said that the real culture and life of the city can only be found in its maze-like network of alleyways. Over 3,000 hutongs and courtyards were built starting way back in the Yuan dynasty at the end of the 13th century. But as Beijing modernized, a lot were lost to construction. Now only around 1,000 remain, and these are fiercely protected.
Of course, if you like food, the Peking duck, you must try the type of traditional way of cooking duck, or the new ones, which I really like a lot, dadong duck, and dadong is the owner's name.
Oh, really?
I think it's kind of a fusion, a little bit of westernized flavor with the traditional cuisine, and it's very yummy.
Peking duck is Beijing's most iconic dish. There are few recipes in the world which can claim to be over 700 years old. On Lang Lang's recommendation, I had to try Dadong's version, which, as he said, and like the city itself, is a mix of the traditional and the modern. With a menu of over 80 pages, Dadong is a feast for the senses. A seemingly endless parade of food was brought to the table, everything from Kobe beef to sliced clams served inside a ball of ice. But of course, Dadong remains most famous for its roast duck.
Right, here it comes, the speciality of the house. That looks amazing. I think there's a great art in how they carve up the duck.
In over 30 years, Dadong has become a recognized brand in Beijing. Not only are there several restaurants dotted around the city to suit every budget and every occasion, but the head chef is also a top-selling author whose books reveal the secrets of his innovative recipes.
It's duck skin with sugar.
The first way I tried this world-famous dish, a piece of the crispy skin dipped in sugar.
Delicious.
It's par for the course in London and New York, and Beijing is no different. After dinner, it's time to take in a show, so I headed to the iconic Red Theatre, located in the city's smallest district, Chongweng. Originally a market building, it was converted into a theatre in 1945 and has become one of the most iconic venues in the city. The show itself is the celebration of one of China's most ancient art forms, Kung Fu. And the narrative tells the story of Chun Yi, a boy trying to fulfill his dream of becoming a Kung Fu master. With its mix of traditional martial arts, dance and modern theatre techniques, Legend of Kung Fu has become one of Beijing's must-see shows for travellers and Kung Fu enthusiasts alike. The NCPA, or the National Grand Theatre, is affectionately called the Giant Egg by locals, and it's not hard to see why. Designed by the renowned French architect Paul Andreu, the building sits in the middle of an artificial lake and houses 4 different arts venues.
I feel very proud, to have a great concert hall, performing arts center in such a primary location.
And it really looks like a giant egg.
Yeah, it is. Floating.
Floating, yes.
Water. So it's such a gigantic egg, but it's very light. It can float.
And for visitors coming to Beijing, would you recommend them coming?
Yeah, certainly. Please come to see opera, because here you have 4 different performing art space. You have the symphonic and then recital, in one concert hall, and then you have a big opera halls, and which they do a lot of features every year. They have 5 new operas, and then they also have the Chinese theater, which with Peking opera, with the Chinese local art forms. And there's a local dance from different parts of China and the different style of art forms. So they do that as well.
To help celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the Grand Theatre, Lang Lang was appointed its artist-in-residence, and during his tenure, he will perform 4 special concerts and a masterclass that's tied into his philanthropic foundation.
Lang Lang, what does it mean for you to be here, artist-in-resident, to be giving back as well?
Yeah, for me, every person in the world should not only take the resources, but to also have the ability to give back to the society. I really believe everyone should do that, whether you do a bigger scale or smaller scale, it doesn't matter. It really shows your love, for the society, and you want to give it back because you are the lucky one who get a lot of tension, and then we need to give those tension back to the society. And whether it's in the U.S., whether it's in the UK, whether it's in Africa, whether it's in China, we should face the next generation in the equal encouragement. And I think when you give back to the world, you gain so much inner power, and makes us more meaningful to live.
So what do you want visitors coming to Beijing, what do you want them to leave with?
I hope that they will first enjoy their time here, and that including a great arts journey, journey of art, journey of music, journey of the heritage, of Beijing, the roots of Chinese culture. When you go to a city, if you only go once, you don't want to come back. When you don't have a re-engagement, that means you probably don't like there or they don't like you, right? So I think the success of any city is that people in love with it, in love with that city, and always come back to discover more things. And I hope Beijing will be like that for you.
Well, Lang Lang, thank you so much for being my tour guide in Beijing, and I can assure you I'll definitely be coming back.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Tania Bryer, and thank you for watching Trailblazers on CNBC Live. If you want to watch another episode, just click on the videos. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for the very best in feature programming. Thank you so much for watching.